Okay, so this is part 5. So anyway, so here's like I said, the Lord told me I have to give everybody the same reference point. So I got saved in an alley. After I was saved, I was told to say a Hail Mary, and I prayed and I felt death. Subsequently, the Lord told me to buy this image of the Virgin, turn it upside down, and sure enough, an image of the Virgin was a dead sheep. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. So then after that, I had this piece of wood that this guy Marcel had drawn my image on. There it is right there. And I couldn't, y'all see that knot in the wood? See the knot in the wood? See how he used that as the eye? Y'all see that? So anyway, so then now that I was saved, it was 2002, I could see everything. I was like, oh my God, why would somebody put a dead sheep on my head? And I actually went to confront this guy, but he had already moved to Guatemala, which was probably good because it probably wouldn't have turned out so good. So anyway, so now we have a common denominator. Let's look at the common denominator. We have an image of the Virgin right here, and you turn it upside down, and it's a dead sheep with its tongue sticking out. We have a piece of wood that a guy drew an image of me on, and it's got a dead sheep on my head. So now we have 2 dead sheep. And so then after that, this spiritual gift the Lord gave me was just kicking in. This is a National Geographic. This is from April 2001. You can find it on eBay if you want to buy your own. And so the Lord told me to open it and look at it. And there's this hieroglyph right here. And in this hieroglyph is an image right there of an alien inside Akhenaten. I can see it clear as day right there. But oddly enough, on this side is Queen Nefertiti right there. You see that image right there of Nefertiti? Well, the Lord told me to draw in all the changes in shadow. And he told me every good and perfect gift comes from above, from the creator of heavenly lights, not like them who cast shifting shadows. So what I did is I blew the whole thing up into a poster. If you want to go on YouTube, you can see it's called Kingdom Divided. And so let me show you what happens with this thing. Now it's time for Isaiah 29, 15, and 16. I'm going to quote it. You guys can go look it up yourself. Woe unto them who go to great depths to hide their plans from the Lord. They do their works in darkness, and they say, who seeth us? Question mark. Who knoweth us? Question mark. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. And so the Lord told me, Jonathan, the very first communication I gave you in the hotel room was to read the tags and the clothes you were carrying. I was carrying a couple shirts and a pair of pants. And I thought, wow, that is the weirdest thing. The Lord's telling me to read the tags and the clothes I'm carrying. This is the night I got saved. And so I was like, okay. And I was with Lou Anderson. Well, we'll just leave it at that. I was with my girlfriend, Eleuthera. Anyway, so I was like, read the tags of the clothes I'm carrying. And he meant the tags in the back, like here, and the tag in the back of the shirt. And so I threw it on the bed and I read it said 100% nylon. And I'm sitting there going, that doesn't make any sense. And so I said 100% nylon. And then I heard the Lord say, turn it upside down. So I went 100% no lion, N-O-L-Y-N, like no line, question mark, question mark. And the Lord, then my whole body just started buzzing. I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, what's going on? And that was the way the Lord communicated to me this profound message, which has proven out to be 100% true now. Okay, so anyway, so Isaiah 29, 15, and 16 is what opened it all up. And so I was looking at this hieroglyph and I was breaking it down and I was boxing in the shadows. And when I boxed in Queen Nefertiti right here, you'll see that right here is Queen Nefertiti, picture I6. And so when I boxed in the shadows and I just colored it, I could see very quickly what it was. And so then I colored it in yellow. And then when you turn it upside down, because Isaiah says, those who try and hide their plans from the Lord, they turn everything upside down. Let me show you what it turns into. So when you turn this whole thing upside down, it turns into a sheep with its tongue sticking out. So there's the eye of the sheep right there. There's the teardrop coming out. And here's the top of the head of the sheep. Here's the nose of the sheep. This red thing is the tongue and under the chin. So now we have 3 dead sheep. Now we have a dead sheep. What's the version when you turn it upside down? You have a dead sheep on an image some guy named Marcel drew of me. And then you have an image of a hieroglyph that is 1,300 years before Christ, and it's a dead sheep also. Now, in this show note link right here, you can go look at this. If you get our show notes, you can scroll down to the bottom like this, and you can go over here, and we have a special projects. It says special projects right here. Welcome to the world of good and evil. And when you go in there, you can find this alien winking in tongues. And you can click on that. You should click on all of those and see what they are. But when you click on that one, you'll see there's some links in here for YouTube. Now, this link right here is called the Dead Sheep Testimony. I'm going to click on it real quick. And this is Chris Hansen. He's a friend of mine. And well, I made friends with him. He was the manager of Starbucks.
I just want to give you guys
And this is me going back to Starbucks, and I went over there because I wanted to show everybody what happened, and I wanted Chris to give a testimony. And so I went back over to Starbucks, and I walked through it, and then I had my friend Chris Hansen, who was the manager, this guy of Starbucks. And so I brought Chris over to my house, and he gave a personal testimony of what he witnessed at Starbucks. And I'll just tell you very quickly what happened. So when I went to Starbucks one day, there's this kid Alex, and Alex would always wink his eye and point his finger at me, and he'd say, "Hey Johnny, how you doing?" And he was a barista. He made the coffee. And anyway, so I told Chris one day, I said, "Chris, you see that guy Alex right there?" And I said, "I will bet you $1 million." I said, "If I sell my sunglass intellectual property, I'll give you $1 million if I'm wrong." I said, "I'll bet you $1 million that he draws a picture of me, and when he does, he puts an image of a dead sheep on my face." I photocopied the receipt that he drew it on right there. That's the picture he drew of me, and it's on your screen also. So anyway, sure enough, I went in there. So Chris looked at me. Chris was like, "Dude, what are you, crazy?" And I said, "Chris, I'll bet you $1 million that Alex is going to draw a picture of me, of my face, and on the picture of my face, he's going to put an image of a dead sheep." Now, don't forget about St. Peter's Basilica, because we're going to get to St. Peter's Basilica in a minute, the big altar of the dead sheep. I'm going to give you the modern sign of Jonah, and I'm also going to give you the guaranteed end of everything when it comes to understanding the scriptures. When you see the rest of this, you're going to be flabbergasted. I guarantee it. So anyway, this is the image. 2 weeks later, I walked into Starbucks, and I walk in, and Alex is like, "Hey Johnny, how you doing?" Pointing his finger. I'm not going to wink my eye, and I'm not going to stick out my tongue because I know how the trolls are. Anyway, so Alex goes, "Hey Johnny, I drew a picture of you," and I looked at Chris like, "Hey Chris, guess what? Alex drew a picture of me." And Chris was like, he couldn't believe it. I was like, "Yeah, he drew a picture of me." And so he walks up and he hands me this image of myself. This is the image right here. And he hands me this image, and I told Chris 2 weeks before, "I'll bet you $1 million this guy draws a picture of me, and when he does, he puts an image of a dead sheep on my face." Well, I want you guys to take your fingers on the computer screen, and I want you to put your fingers over my eyes. When you do that, you see these lines under my eyes? I don't have bags like that under my eyes yet. And he did that because it makes it look like I'm asleep. It looks like my eyes are closed. He drew it's called a double layer. You're meant to see it 2 different ways. Eyes closed shut and eyes open. He was mocking me. Now, if you look at the other image I showed you of the the piece of wood, I want you to notice something about it. My eyes are closed. See it? This is a manifestation of the enemy. They're making fun of me like I'm blind. Well, I was blind before I got saved. I couldn't see any of this. I couldn't see any of it. And I probably would have told you you're absolutely nuts if you would have tried to show it to me. But anyway, so he hands me this image of myself, and on this image, I immediately saw the sheep right here. The sheep's eye is closed right here. This is the forehead of the sheep. This is the ear sticking out. The other ear comes this way around my ear. He put it right behind my ear, and he used the curve of my ear to make the other ear of the sheep. And there's the eye of the sheep coming down to the snoot. There's the nostril. There's the other nostril. There's the mouth open, and look at the snot coming out of the nose and then out of the mouth. The sheep is dead. And so when he handed this thing to me, I looked at Chris and I said, wow, Chris, check it out. Alex drew a picture of me. And Chris was like, oh my God, there's a dead sheep on it. And I went, I told you. And so Alex got off on a break right then. He was just happened to be going on break. And so I sat down at a table and said, hey, Alex, you got a minute? I usually didn't stay there. But I said, hey, Alex, you got a minute? And he goes, yeah, John, what's up? Now, don't forget, y'all have seen that dead sheep? Remember? Okay. And then there was a dead sheep on a piece of wood. There's a dead sheep in a hieroglyph of Akhenaten and Nefertiti. And I said to Alex, hey, Alex, you got a minute? And he goes, yeah, John, what's up? I go, well, why don't you grab a seat? And I sat him down at my table, and Chris, he wanted to see what the heck was going on. Is like, wow, this is crazy. He drew see the dead sheep? See it? There's the ear. Yeah. Anyway, so Chris wanted to see what was going on, So Chris kind of walked out from behind the bar there. He was manager on duty, and Alex was taking a break as a barista. And so Chris walked around just to see what was going on in the conversation. And so I asked Alex, I said, hey, Alex, man, this picture you drew me? He's like, yeah, John, yeah. He's a very gregarious, very sweet guy. He's like, yeah, John, yeah. And I said, well, hey, Alex, I got a question for you. He's like, yeah, John, what's up? I said, well, I've seen this before, so, don't freak out. He's like, what? And I said, well, this picture you drew me. And he goes, yeah, man. And I said, well, I got a question for you. And he goes, yeah. And I said, why did you draw a dead sheep behind my ear? And as soon as I did that, he went from, yeah, to, do you know who you're speaking with? I went, yeah, I think I do. I think I know who I'm speaking with. I said, do you know who you're speaking with? And he was like, yeah. And right then I said, hold that thought. I'll be right back. I ran next door because my kid was next door getting his hair cut. And I said, how long is he going to be in the chair? And they said, he'll be out in 10 minutes. And I said, okay, send him next door. So anyway, when I came back, Alex had drawn this. He had drawn this image on the receipt. Let's see, right there. That image. It's a shark and it's a skeleton being ripped in half and another beast. And it says, shield my eyes from the sun, for I know not what lies before me. And he slides it over and he says, do you know what you're looking at? And I, at that point I was like, no, like, should I? And he says, I'm everywhere you go. I'm all around you. And I was like, okay. Well, everywhere I seemed to go, people were winking their eye at me. It was the creepiest thing ever. It was so bizarre. I mean, I'm not going to go over all the times that after that people winked their eye, but it was insane. I was like, what in the hell? Well, it's in the scriptures. Okay, this concludes part 5. We're just going to keep going.